Welcome back. We're both so excited.
To the GSL.
We can't contain ourselves. We are here in our final round of Code A. Any player who wins today will advance to Code S.
Yes, indeed. Today is round 3. What some might call the round 24, but simply called round 3. And yeah, so the players that win today go straight to Code S. And there's not a ton of pressure, though, because today, whoever loses still goes to the up and down matches. They're not out of it completely yet. So there's no danger of elimination today, but it still is actually very important because this is the easiest way, once you've gotten to this point, to get right into Code S. The up and down matches are going to be really challenging this season.
Absolutely.
So,
I mean, all you have to do is win a best of 3 today, and you're in Code S.
Yeah.
And just to be in Code S itself is so prestigious. There's so much money in it, even in the first round. It's just something you want to grab onto. So it's just the best opportunity for these players. This is probably the most stressful day they've had since the first round of Code A. And some of them didn't even go through that round. Some players, like MVP, for example, lost in Code S, and now is just going to try to immediately regain his spot. Unlike Sniper, who's his first opponent, just to, put things into perspective, who's been trying to get his way up through Code A and finally have his shot at Code S. So they're going to be battling it out for that spot.
Yeah, exactly. And remember, the Code S Finals is going to be happening this weekend. It's going to be at the SETEC.
Yeah.
That's at Hangul Station, and that's going to be in Seoul.
Yeah.
So if you're in Seoul, come on down. Grab yourself a seat, watch the GSL Finals. I guarantee it's going to be a treat. It's always cool to actually be there in person. So if you're going to school here or something like that, mark that on your calendar, save the date, and if not, check around for Barcrafts nearby. In fact, someone tweet me if you know if there's a Barcraft in the San Francisco Bay Area, because I'm actually going to be visiting family and friends, going on a little bit of vacation. So I'm going to be there.
That sounds awesome, man.
I'm probably going to get to visit Doa. Actually, gonna have a drink with him or something. That'll be cool.
That sounds good.
But yeah, so finals are gonna be awesome. But today is the day where we're gonna see 4 players get into Code S.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And 4 players, their dreams of getting into Code S will at least be delayed as they go into the up and down matches. So you can see our advancing percentage by team here.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, it looks like, obviously, you can see some really cool rates here. You can look at the bottom there, Mouse and Gamania not having any players advancing to Code S, but look at Liquid, Epic's Open, MVP, and Complexity all having their players advancing so far. That's actually pretty good.
Yeah, that's really impressive. Some of those players, of course, coming from different rounds, and you can see there, for instance, Sen, Gamania team actually made it to round 2, but not into round 3. So, but yeah. Very, very cool to see that. That's actually really interesting. It's interesting there's only those 4 teams that have had 100%, and the next is 40%, actually.
Notice that in its host slot had 3 players in the round of 1, and none of them were even able to advance to round 2.
Yeah.
And EG had 3 players, 2 of which were eliminated, and of course JYP unable to get through round 2. Or not JYP. I'm like having a mind blank here on which player that was in round 2 for EG.
I don't remember either.
Either way. You can see Prime having a lot of players making it to round 2 as well, and then of course only 1 sticking into round 3. So here are today's matches. We only have 1 stream today, unlike our normal Code A streams. It's just going to be me and Moletrap today. It's going to be Sniper against MVP. MVP the clear favorite in that match, I would say. The STC against Curious should be very close, very interesting. Some really good maps for both races in that pool as well. Seed versus Lenog, I really have to say we'll probably go to Lenog. But Seed, man, he has been looking so strong recently. And the same could be said of Avenge, who's facing off against Oz here. Avenge has shown some really interesting PvP. His late game PvP, he knows how to get there, but sometimes he seems to choke in that late game.
Yes, indeed. Fox Z, though, is very, very good at Protoss versus Protoss. I would definitely think of him as the favorite, but he is basically, I think he flew in this morning from New York, actually, so he might be not in his best shape right now, and that might be a factor.
Yeah, a lot of these players coming in extremely early today. So.
Yeah. MVP, for instance, coming in. Was Lenog abroad as well? Yeah, he was, I thought so. Okay, so yeah, a few of our players today may be tired. Now here's the stats on our first 2 players. Look at that. MVP.
Rank number 1.
Exactly.
100 places ahead of his opponent at 101.
Yeah, Sniper, excuse me, this is the first time he's gotten this far. He actually has been in Code twice before.
Yeah.
He beat Sase once and then failed to check. And then he, the very next season, lost again in the first round. So he hasn't had very much success at all until this season. He's got 4 wins and 0 losses this season to get all the way to this round. So
yeah,
this is his time to shine.
I mean, he's basically been in Code 3 seasons in a row. That's pretty impressive. And I have to say, even though he's done all of that, though, he's playing against MVP. You saw in the win percentages there, he actually had only a total of 5 or 6 games played with the win rate he had, whereas MVP has played just, I don't know, like 10 or more times more games. So, yeah, it's
a buttload.
Yeah, I guess you could say that. He's got a lot of LAN experience. Look at him giving a little yawn there. He's looking a little bit tired, and I don't blame him. He's been on an airplane. He's been traveling around the world. A lot of fatigue. Definitely going to affect his play here. This is Sniper's best chance, I have to say, of getting an easy route into Code S and being able to tell his friends, tell his family, tell his fans, you know what, I beat MVP. He might be able to do it today.
That is correct. You know, MVP has... well, we'll talk about that more in just a second, actually, what he's done recently, because we're going to get into game number 1 on Metropolis. Will the number 1 ranked player win out, or will Sniper snipe him? We're going to find out. All right, down here in the bottom of the map as our Zerg player. This is the farthest he's gotten in Code A before. He's trying to prove himself, trying to get into Code S for the first time.
MVP Sniper.
And he actually did knock out Clyde, who is the best human in the world, apparently. To our good buddies, so he's doing good versus Terran this season. And here is his opponent, though, in the right. He's ranked number 1 in the GSL.
I am MVP.
Yep. Some people call him the Game Genie Terran. Some people call him the Baleen Terran.
The what?
The Baleen Terran.
The Baleen Terran?
It's a nickname I originated because he often plays with his mouth open. As you can see, it's opening wide there.
There it is.
He's getting ready to catch those grill nerds, man. All right,
that's what he does. He just swims through the different rounds of the GSL, catching up nerds in his big
I told Tasteless about that joke, man. They died. I don't know if they used it or not, but they died.
That is awesome.
We have a forward barracks here for MVP, and no gas is taken. Looks like it's just going to be a trick move.
Yeah.
Scare his opponent into thinking he's doing some sort of proxy 11-11 rocks.
I actually see Terrans hide their barracks more often than build it with into a wall these days. And he actually shows his Overlord. That's kind of cute. I'm not sure exactly why he decided to show that Overlord. You know what else I noticed? Besides the fact that Terrans are always building racks in funny locations, no Terrans run their SCV over, or Protoss. No one runs their SCV or Probe over to check for the Overlord Scout anymore.
Nope, nobody
Why
does
is that?
It's a good question. A lot of our maps are forced cross positions. You don't have really those 4-player maps with close air positions. Only Metalopolis has that, and we don't use Metalopolis anymore, so I think that's the reason why. On a map like this, though, it is possible for you to do that. Bulgaria is here. GOMTV forever.
Awesome. GOMTV is a pro player, by the way, playing Brood War. Actually just joined the Air Force team. But anyway, I just thought it was interesting. Even on maps where it's not forced cross position, where there's close air, we don't see people try and scout for that Overlord anymore. I'm not sure why. But anyway, that's what we had here, and we got a very fast command center for MVP. By the way, what I was going to mention about MVP before is, you know, he is the #1 ranked player in the GSL, arguably, I would say definitely one of the top few players in the world.
Yeah, absolutely.
And but he actually just lost this last weekend to Rhett.
Yeah.
So he has recently lost a game to a Zerg player who was not favored in that match. And it could have been because he was tired. I think that probably factored into it, even though Rhett is definitely like extremely strong. He's one of my favorite players. But point being, if he's tired again today, Sniper may have a chance that he wouldn't have before.
Yeah, as I was saying earlier, I really feel this is going to be a very stressful and tense moment for Sniper, because this is his best chance of not only getting a straight shot into Code S, but also taking out a player like MVP is something really to be proud of. And if you can pull that off, it's something I'll always remember now.
And that confidence boost could do more than anything, actually, going into the next rounds.
Yeah, I completely agree.
Going to Code S.
Notice that MVP is controlling the map already with his Marines here. He's actually pushed the slow Zerglings off of the Watchtower. Now he's actually moving very far forward with actually his first 5 Marines. He could have perhaps caught an Overlord, but he's being safe, just trying to force some extra Zerglings. In fact, 20 Zerglings in production right now.
Yeah, that was being a little bit dangerous with those Marines, but hopefully he doesn't pay for it. Speed is about to kick in, and there's almost 30 Lings on the map. And it looks like MVP is actually going to get back to his nice, safe wall. That was a bit of an overreaction by Sniper.
Yeah.
I can see him making an extra 6 Lings, being a little bit worried about those Marines and wanting to try and catch them out in the open, but 20 is a bit much, because
now he can't do anything.
He can do anything.
His opponent's wall has his stim research on the inside. In fact, he's going to go for combat shields before stim. He's getting Blue Flame back at home, and his main base has actually started 2 factories. So it's a really interesting composition by MVP. Something else to note is that the Zerg player did not ever see the command center, so I think that might have been his fears. Oh, maybe he's hitting some other barracks somewhere on the map.
True.
What is he really doing? So that was kind of perhaps a fear there.
No, you're right. Maybe he saw those Marines being very aggressive and perhaps too aggressive, and that may have tipped him off to say, okay, wait a second, maybe he's about to kill me. But this is interesting. MVP has no vision of the rocks to the north of his base, which are half destroyed now, and actually he might be able to make use of those Zerglings after all. Running it well. There's Hellions on the map. I don't think it's going to do a ton of damage, but he might be able to kill a few Marines or a few SCVs if he goes in there.
He's got a Baneling Nest as well, Moletrap, but I just don't see exactly with the Hellions there. I don't really see a lot of damage being done here, but he might try to just run, run one Zergling up and see, oh, you don't have any vision, then send it back out, then try to send some Banelings in here. I don't think that'll be the case. Spire is started, Evolution Chamber is on the way.
Oh, he does see the rocks, actually, with that one Marine. He's just not doing anything about it.
Yeah, I guess not. Well, here they come. There should be enough to defend this, but he's going to lose some Marines in the process.
Oh no, a ton of Zerglings!
Wow.
At least half the Zerglings clumped up on the ramp to try and kill those retreating Marines, and the Hellions with Blue Flame upgrade were right there to meet them. And now MVP pushing out on the map, and Sniper has nothing because he just lost all of his Zerglings. Can't even make any Banelings right now. Desperately trying to make some spines.
He just made a round of drones too. His larva injects are finishing, so he's got 18 Lings on the way, but they may not be done in time. He does have a pretty tight wall here. It's not quite tight, but he can sort of block it with Queens at this point. He will have a second spine very soon. With these Marines here, though, I think he should be able to bypass these. A lot of Banelings morphing, but if he can actually target those down a micro off of creep against the Banelings, it should be fine. The question is, will he decide to commit here? There are 2 spines, like I mentioned, and it looks like he's actually going to just back off here.
Yeah, I think that would be the wiser move, personally. There are 3 spines there, and if he targets down the Hellions with the spines, they won't be able to do too much. The Banelings there's a decent amount of Banelings. It's a really dangerous clump of Banelings as well. So it could go well, but it also could go disastrous. And MVP wants to take this lead that he's gotten by killing those Zerglings and just milk it.
Yeah, baiting out some Zerglings here, getting just a few hits, not very many. Right now, all the Banelings that were morphed, in fact, in total he made 9. That's a lot of gas not used on Mutalisks. He is starting a few Mutas now. 2 more about to pop out. He's going to put him up to a total of 6. He does start +1 flyer weapons as well. His Evolution Chamber is done, but he's not using it. He just started using it, as I said, that to get +1 Carapace. Looks like the Marines are going to go home. And
I'll show you, Wolf.
He's going to show me, man. The Hellions still camping outside, making sure no creep can be spread and no units can go outside.
Well, these 4 Mutalisks are not going to be able to do anything about those turrets. They're going to be forced to retreat. 2 Mutalisks scratching the paint on some Hellions as well, but you're right. He just didn't have the gas to actually make enough Mutalisks to be really a threat. So he's trying to sort of slowly and steadily build up that Muta count. but it's actually, he might get a Hellion after all. Nope, Marines are going to come. No, he does get the Hellion. I take back my take back of his kill. But yeah, Sniper actually managed to stop that push.
Yeah, but
I was a little surprised by that. I thought he was going to die, but some clutch.
Oh no! He's gonna catch some mutas here.
Oh, there goes
But
there's half the attack units that he's been.
That was a huge stim,
Oh, yeah.
and he doesn't have any medevacs yet. He does have his reactor building on his starport. I feel like MVP is worlds ahead right now, though, Moltrap. He just barely... Hold that thought! The Zerglings is actually going to surround these Marines. That's a huge victory for Sniper.
That was big.
That was exactly what he needed to get back into this game.
And now these mutas are able to run around without too much worry because there's not a ton of Marines. And another stim on most of his remaining Marines. He is going to start producing reactor medevacs in just a moment. But yeah, that was a pretty big kill.
It's been 2 base against 2 base for so long. And if he had not blocked that command center with the Overlord as he did, it would be 3 bases against 2 base for Sniper. Right now, the army supply is looking pretty good for MVP as well. I just have to worry for Sniper a little bit here. He's trying to get that 3rd base saturated. Started a 4th now, but MVP is still, even with that small catch on the Marines, he's got a strong enough army to move out and put some real hurt on Sniper. There's still that group of Banelings from earlier that he may try to attack this 3rd base with, though. That'd be kind of an interesting attack. There are siege tanks in position. There are a lot of Marines here to spot as well, and all he has to do is lift. He does waste a few mules, though. He's going to have to lift up and perhaps dodge some of these. No, actually, he's going to react in time. His Hellion's getting into position. I think he's going to be totally fine.
He's trying to target down those Banes. The tanks siege up, and the Banelings do go down with just very few hits. The Mutalisks going after the mules.
Wow, he got nothing, man. He didn't even get a single mule. Not a single good Baneling hit.
No.
MVP saw it and reacted in time. Nice targeting on the Banes, and MVP regains a supply lead right now. The worker count 70 drones to 54 SCVs, but with triple orbitals. By the way, let me just take a moment to say I've actually been incorrectly reporting. I learned something very important the other day. Thank you,
What'd you
Twitter.
learn?
That mules and SCVs not mine at the exact same rate. Mules take longer to mine. I was not aware of this, even though I've been playing Terran for a few weeks now. I actually did not know that. It was kind of embarrassing. So
more per trip, but not as quick.
Yeah,
as
so
trips.
they're actually worth about 4 SCVs. Each mule's worth about 4, not 6, as I previously said. Thank you so much for correcting me. Actually, a few people actually mentioned that to me on Twitter, and
good to know.
Yeah, so basically with that extra orbital, he gets about 4 SCVs per mule drop. Not 6, as I had originally said mistakenly on cast in the past.
And by the way, speaking of mules, the patch did hit. It hit a couple days later, I think, in Korea than in North America, but the patch is now live in North America, so it doesn't really matter too much, I guess, regarding mules, because there's actually no maps with gold minerals, but the gold mineral...
It does stand to wonder now, though, will gold minerals return to the GSL? It's hard to say.
I hope so. I would think so.
The Thor is so well positioned here by MVP. He's also stimming only groups of about 6 to 8 Marines maximum to take out mutas at this point. Not actually overstimming at all, getting himself caught with Zerglings. He's really controlling this area very well, but I feel perhaps Moltrap, he's been a little bit too passive at this point. He's getting near it to max, but Sniper back at home is getting Hive Tech. He's got a lot of upgrades on the way. He's going to get Infestors very soon out. He's got Pathfinder Glands about halfway done. He's getting Flyer Carapace right now. 2-2 upgrades for his units, which will, he's still behind upgrades because MVP is already at 2-2 with 3-3 on the way. But you don't want to deal with that heavily upgraded Zerg army. 11 creep tumors in production at once, by the way,
wow.
I should add.
Nice. I guess he, he's got a queen out, making creep tumors with every round, every further pushing of that creep out onto the map. A little bit of a drop has been spotted, and the Mutalisks have been dispatched to deal with this. But yeah, Sniper, he's in pretty good shape right now. His Hive is about to finish. His pathogen glands for the energy for his Infestors is about to finish, although he didn't actually make any Infestors, it seems.
Something interesting I'd like to note about MVP's hotkey setup right now is he has no Marines hotkeyed or Medivacs or Thors. He only has 4 siege tanks hotkeyed. So he is actually boxing everything he does. Just wanted to point that out. It's something that's really unique and interesting. He doesn't even have his drop ships that he's dropping his opponent with hotkeyed. He does not have those hotkeyed whatsoever. So just wanted to point that out, something really interesting. He actually does not save this drop. He does kill 1 muta though. And in the main, he's continuing a drop, which will take out a Spore Crawler and a Spine Crawler. Well, almost a spine crawler, so...
Yeah, he's actually just... I mean, these drops are not being very effective at all.
No.
They're not really being worth the units that he's losing at this point. I mean, he's got to try something because, as you said, he was being a little too passive before. But look at that. We've even got the adrenal glands being upgraded for the Zerglings. Oh, he's going to get a few drones here before the Mutas polish off this drop as well.
The Ultralisk Cavern, as far as I can tell, is not spotted. It's hidden by Overlords at the natural, but MVP is going to hit a really nice timing here. He's got his units set up very nicely. The rest of the Zerg units have to walk around this entire weird, crazy generator cannon-looking thing, and MVP
awesome.
is actually positioned very well right now. His tank's not really able to be surrounded. He decides to go home, though.
Oh, wow.
Very interesting choice considering the position he was in. He has split his units to attack several locations, however, but there's just not enough in any of those splits to really do anything. Now he's coming in for a second pass, though. Some Banelings eating some shots.
Wow, that is a ton of Banelings, and there's a lot of Zerglings to soak up the fire to make sure the Banelings can get near him. Now, notice MVP has camped his army right on the edge of the creep. He does not want to engage on creep. With Speedbanes on creep, he will not be able to get away from him very easily. So he's going to kill the creep tumors off, let it recede a little bit, and then push in a little bit closer and start attacking the fourth.
Have been spotted, Moltrap. The Banelings coming in here. They're very clumped up, though.
Oh, no. And the initial volley from the tanks targeted the Ultras instead of the Banes. So a ton of Banelings get through, and MVP is wiped off of the map. He's going to try and drop the main at the same time, but this is not going to work. And the Ultralings will clean up the rest of the units trying to drop that 5th base. Sniper takes a 50 supply lead.
50 supply lead and regains control of his natural. He's about to have plus 5 Carapace for his Ultralisk. And with plus 3 melee on the way, he's actually no longer going to have any sort of upgrade deficit from MVP to deal with. His army size is going to consistently be larger for quite some time, and the Greater Spire's on the way. Moltrap, he's going to continue to trade with these Ultras, try to shut down his opponent's army repeatedly, and then eventually move in for the siege move with the Broodlords. I feel like MVP is in a really tough spot at this point. He's even got to deal with the small Mutalisk harassment that's left over here at his production facilities. I really feel MVP with that engagement, his targeting was poor. MVP does seem a little off today, and I think it's possibly due to this traveling. He just does not seem on top of his game. He's a little bit passive. Anyway, we're going to see him try to deal with this massive push here. Tanks sieging up.
Oh, there's a ton of Ultralisks, though. They're getting in close. The Infestors toss down Fungals. They cannot escape from the giant Ultralisks, and it looks like everything's going to die. The Fungals holding the Marines in place so that Banelings can land. And ladies and gentlemen, the #1 player in the GSL rankings has been forced back into his natural expansion, which is now being absolutely rampaged by Ultralisks.
Yep, I think this is going to be it, Moltrap. I think MVP has lost game 1 to Sniper. There's no coming back now. He does have a lot of additional bases mining, but his heart is exposed, man. And he's blocking an Ultras with Infested Terrans. Not the best micro
funny.
there.
He should actually probably retreat at this point. All his Ultras are low on health, and there he is going to maybe try and get away. Nope,
well,
never mind. He's just going for the kill.
So many heavily upgraded Zerglings.
Yeah, well, actually, I guess his economy is so ridiculous right now that it doesn't even matter. He can just reproduce stuff very quickly.
Well, here's the key, Moltrap. It's 175 supply to 40.
Oh, gosh. And Zerglings are going to take down a planetary for only the 2nd time I've ever seen.
Yep, and these Zerglings going to help clean up these bases, force lifts on them as well. Meanwhile, Ultralisk being taken out by heavily upgraded Marauders, but it does not matter. With 4 times the supply for Sniper, the worker count 68 to 23. Neo Steel, or Building Armor, I should say, doesn't have a special name. Finishes up for our Terran player. Neo Steel's for bunkers.
Ah, yes.
But he finishes the Building Armor just a second too late to help deal with that attack. And he's going to sit back at home. We've seen MVP almost come back and win against Lenok. Do you remember that particular game?
I was just going to say, MVP is the only person who I would give any percentage of chance of coming back, because we've seen him come back from games that were very much as bad as this in the past.
Usually they involve Ultralisks, man. Generally speaking, Ultralisks are not very cost efficient against Terran in all situations.
Yep.
And with good micro, wall-offs, and decision-making with drops, you can actually come back as a Terran against someone who's really heavy Ultralisking.
Yeah, sometimes Zerg players just are like, oh, I've got this so in the bag, I need to spend all my money on a bunch of Ultralisks and A move to get this over with. And yeah, Ultralisks, if dealt with properly, can be very effective, but I don't think this planetary is going to survive.
Nope. He didn't repair immediately, but even if he had, with those Banelings, it does not matter.
Banelings and Ultras are actually really good against planetaries.
It looks like MVP is going to expose his army here just a little bit. There is a Baneling trap set. We'll see if he walks over that. I don't think he will want to engage next to these buildings instead. I'm kind of surprised Sniper's going around this location.
Oh, wow.
Looks like it doesn't matter with how many units he has. He's going to charge through here. Nice micro by MVP. In fact, really nice micro. The Ultras attack into a choke point, only 2 of which firing at a time. And MVP really cost efficiently taking this out.
There you go. That's what it's about. I mean, Sniper's still way ahead, don't get me wrong, but that is why Ultras can by themselves.
Oh no! The Baneling landmine! Oh!
No! There might be a fungal also. Fungal on all the Marines. That is going to polish MVP off, I think. GG!
Sniper's done it in game 1.
The landmine and the fungals finishing things off, and MVP Sniper looks almost shocked himself. He's like, wait, I won?
I think that's the face of someone who knows very well that he played against a weakened version of MVP, you know, a version of MVP where things are just not lining up correctly for him. He was too passive in certain stages of that game. I really feel he could have been more aggressive at times. His micro and that one crucial battle was not very good. Then also he lost that initial wave of Marines to the Mutalisks and the Zerglings. He had them a little bit too far forward. If any one of those 3 things had not occurred, I feel that MVP probably would have done a better job in that game, would have been able to at least grasp some parts of it through the mid-game, control the center a little bit longer. But instead he slowly pushed out with siege tanks, turrets, and sensor towers at a time where he had an army advantage and he had been up on bases for a while. I just find that a little bit strange and very un-MVP-like.
Yeah, no, you're exactly right. MVP is classically a very aggressive player, especially versus Zerg. He likes to be very aggressive and use the fact that he's got an econ advantage to his advantage. And you're right, he had 3 bases to 2. And instead of doing anything about it, he sat around until the Zerg had 5 bases in Hive Tech. He literally didn't do any drops for like the first 15 minutes of the game even. He was just sitting back so much.
Absolutely. He really did not. And once the lead was there for Sniper, Sniper did not make very many mistakes.
No.
Clinched it, and Sniper got to be feeling good. He's 1 game away from his first appearance in Code S. And remember, for MVP fans, obviously MVP is not going to be too stressed about this because he's still got an extremely good chance of getting through the up and down matches, even if he loses this game. The map is Cloud Kingdom. There's actually mixed feelings between the races as to whether or not this is a Zerg, better map for Zerg, better map for Terran. I'd say it's pretty balanced, in my opinion. Recently adopted to the ladder map pool as well.
Yep. Yeah, I like this map. It's definitely a good one. It's a very dynamic map at the very least.
Absolutely.
A lot of ins and outs, a lot of what have yous. Anyway, we're going to get into game number 2 in just a minute here. MVP on the verge of being knocked down to the up and down matches. He really wants to get into Code S, but Sniper sees his opportunity and he's 1 game away. Will he seize it? We're going to find out right now.